Assalamu alaikum, good evening, and welcome to Hajj Tonight. Today we will start a special coverage of Hajj Tonight of the Hajj season that has just started. And for the next few days, we're going to be talking about everything. The entire program is going to be dedicated to Hajj. We're going to be looking at news and information and developments from around the world and in Saudi Arabia related to Hajj. So tonight is the first day of the Islamic month of Dhul Hijjah, the year 1435. This is the 12th month on the Islamic calendar. We will soon start the year 1436 after just 4 weeks. On the Christian calendar, today is the 25th of September 2014. Thank you so much for tuning in to another live edition. For our news items this evening, we're going to be looking at the movement of Muslims from their various places around the world to Saudi Arabia for Hajj, and also look at the preparations that the various ministries in Saudi Arabia are making to prepare for the Hajj season. So we're going to be particularly looking at two countries that have been affected by various forms of devastation. In Kashmir, we're going to look at the pilgrims there coming from a situation that has been stricken by floods, very severe floods that have taken the lives of people and left a lot of people homeless. And then also Nigeria, Muslims coming from there who have been, their country has been affected by Ebola. So we'll talk about some of these things and a few others for the news segment of the program. Following our news portion, we will talk about a health-related the human body related to Hajj and some of the preparations, also how to physically and mentally and spiritually prepare for Hajj. This will be covered in our social segment following the news. Before we get to these things, one item from this day in history. On this day in history, the Organization for Islamic Cooperation was established. The year was 1969. Now there are 57 member states of the OIC. They represent 1.6 billion people across the world. They work to promote solidarity among the Muslim Ummah and to preserve Islamic social and economic values. Thank you again for tuning in. We'll take a short break and come back with the program.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك لا شريك لك إن الحمد والنعمة لك.
Imagine at the Anbiya, they were the ones that were the most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they had the hardest lives.
He assumed that he had some kind of superiority and he was a better, more chosen, a better person because he had this wealth. And then you look at all the other people who had wealth, and some of them were the worst people. You had Fir'aun and
Qarun.
Reviving your niyyah time and again, that you're doing insincerely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Most of the youth, they think, oh, I'm going to pray when I'm old, it's okay, now I'll have fun in my life. Later on I'll work, I'll go on my bed, I'll pray 5 times a day. And all these things, they think that's later on in their life, and they don't know when they will die.
Amira, who's your role model?
Khadija radiallahu anha.
And why?
Because she was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's wife, and she was the first lady to believe in Islam.
لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك لا شريك لك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك.
Huda TV's social media sites are the best way to contact us from anywhere around the world. Stay connected with Huda TV's latest news and programs through Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Skype, and Instagram. It's fast and easy. Stay up to date with your favorite shows and scholars today. Huda TV, a light in every home.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك لا شريك لك إن الحمد ونعمة لك.
Why is Hajj so important? Allah the Almighty said in the verse number 97 of the third chapter of the Quran, which is known as Ali Imran, He said, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا تابعوا بين الحج والعمرة فإنهما ينفيان الفقر والذنوب. Follow up performing Hajj, after Hajj and Umrah after Umrah. So what is the first step? Ihram. The first pillar is Ihram. What does Ihram mean? What does it entail? Hajj al-Ifrad, many of the local people do Hajj al-Ifrad and others because they're exempt from offering the Hajj or the sacrifice. It doesn't require Hajj. So when you say لبيك اللهم عمرة وحجة, that's called Qiran. And you do the rites of Umrah and you do not take off the Ihram condition. Rather you continue until you finish the Hajj. So Al-Hajj and Al-Umrah and following up between Hajj and Umrah for those who can afford it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives their past sins or whatever sins in between.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Hajj Tonight. For the next few days, as I said in the intro, we will be focusing entirely on Hajj for the program. All the stories, news, and information we present will be related to Hajj. Our first item this evening, we're going to be talking about Hajj in general. Most of the Muslims who are going to be performing Hajj this year have already arrived in Saudi Arabia. However, many others are still making their way and will soon reach the holy city. They're traveling, of course, to fulfill their religious obligations as Muslims. This is the largest gathering of Muslims each year. Before reaching Mecca, pilgrims must perform certain rituals in order to enter the state of Ihram, which is required before beginning the pilgrimage. Pilgrims, after entering the state of Ihram, they're prohibited from doing certain things such as fighting, hunting, or cutting their nails or hair. They're also required to wear a white unstitched garment. Hajj is one of the foundational 5 pillars of Islam. It's performed on the 9th through the 12th of the Islamic month of Dhul Hijjah, which is the 12th and final month on the Islamic calendar. It also corresponds this year to August the 3rd on the Christian solar calendar. Some of the activities include circumambulating the Kaaba. This is well known that we see a lot of this, and also making the trips between the 2 hills, Safa and Marwa. Our next item will take us to Kashmir. The Muslims in this flood-stricken area of Kashmir, they have started making their way, they already have been making their way to Saudi Arabia to perform the Hajj, despite the devastation in Kashmir related to the flooding, which is being described as the worst flooding that the region has seen in the past 100 years. Hundreds of people have been killed by the flooding and tens of thousands have been made homeless. Authorities have said that the damage estimates are in Jammu and Kashmir run into the billions of dollars. Some of the victims say that they are still homeless again because their homes have been devastated by the floodwaters. The Supreme Court on Wednesday, it formed a committee, a 5-member committee that will make a comprehensive assessment of the situation and then provide the court with a official report. As for the Kashmiri Hajjs, the chief minister, Omar Abdullah, he said that, quote, Hajj flights from Srinagar to Saudi Arabia have resumed, and 2 flights have already taken off from the international airport, carrying 275 pilgrims each. We'll go to West Africa for our next story. There's a group to Nigeria. Some of the Muslims there are participating in a pre-trip course to ensure a more safe Hajj experience. This course was provided by an expert on Hajj tourism. He's advised these Nigerian Hajjs on a more safe way to perform the the pilgrimage and raising their awareness about avoiding particularly the stampede situations. And this is an unfortunate reality that we see year after year. And so the purpose of this was to raise their awareness and give them some safe practices. The chairman of this Hajj tourism company, Umara Usman Karaye, he conducted this pre-trip. This is a 2-day course he did in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Karaye, he emphasized the importance of being well informed in order to avoid dangerous situations and to perform the religious rites appropriately. So it's very good to see this brother offering information, as well as they're attending this to try and at least be aware of the possible risks and dangers that they may face and ways to avoid them. Very, very good to see this. We'll stay in Nigeria for our next story. This is about the impact that Ebola has had. Nigeria happens to be one of the less affected. Primarily the states affected were Sierra Leone, Guinea, and the other state there in West Africa. Nigeria, however, has been the only country that has been affected by Ebola in the West African states that has been approved to send pilgrims to perform the Hajj in Saudi Arabia. There are about 76,000 Nigerian Muslims who will make their way to Saudi Arabia to perform the Hajj this year. Before actually boarding the plane, the Nigerian Hajjis, they must undergo a thorough health screening. The screening sites are located at the point of departure inside the airport terminals. One group of the pilgrims from a southwest part of Nigeria, they arrived at the airport in Lagos dressed in the same yellow and beige clothing for easy identification once they reached Saudi Arabia. Nigeria has been widely praised for its response to Ebola. The health minister there has said that no case of Ebola has been detected in the country for the past 1 week. We'll go to Bangladesh for our next story. There's a group of Muslims here who will not be able to take Hajj, not because of a devastation that has stricken them, not because they didn't have enough money or some political problem, but because they were the victims of a scam. More than 1,000 Muslims will not be able to perform Hajj this year from Bangladesh because they fell victim to a phony Hajj schemes. And even if they did make new arrangements at this point, it's too late because the Saudi Arabian embassy in Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, has stopped processing Hajj visas for this Hajj season. The good news is that the vast majority of the Muslims from Bangladesh have already received their visas, with more than 72,000 Bangladeshi Muslims already in Saudi Arabia, and the remaining of this 97,000 are on their way. Local sources said that many of the 1,000 victims unwittingly paid money to corrupt or fake middlemen who simply kept the money after telling the victims that the money would be delivered and processed through official Hajj agencies. The victims reported that their experiences to the Hajj director in the country, saying that they had given the money to the men who were posing as imams. They were also posing, according to these reports, as people who were representatives of the Hajj agencies. There's a very terrible set of developments. And it's very disappointing, undoubtedly. It's very difficult for many of us to save the money and make the time to be able to make Hajj. And then for this to happen, again, the good news is that the vast majority, nearly 100,000, did make it, this 1,000. And it also points to the importance of reporting these kinds of crimes to the authorities. Why? Because it gives the authorities the ability to profile these kinds of crimes and prevent them, and also raise public awareness. We'll move to our next story, which is about a report on the performance of Saudi Arabian Airlines. The Assistant Director General of Saudi Arabian Airlines reported that the company, Saudia, has achieved a 90% rate of success in handling over 470 Hajj flights. The flights included in the evaluation, they occurred at some point from the beginning of the season to the current time, and were bound for either the international airport in Jeddah or Medina. Saudi expects to transport more than 800,000 Muslims on inbound or outbound flights during the current Hajj season. It's very good for them to be able to claim this report, 90% success. It's very exciting, and it can be disappointing, if you could imagine, if there are complications with the airline company not being able to perform their duty. So it's very good to see a very high rate of performance by Saudi Arabian Airlines. We'll move next to some of the preparations that are being made on the ground by some of the Hajj ministries, or various ministries in Saudi Arabia. The first is a traffic department. They developed a traffic plan this year in partnership with Tawafa organizations, which cater to the various needs of pilgrims, providing general and specific information and assistance. Abdurrahman Al-Makbil, the director of traffic police and the assistant commander of Hajj security, he said that the Tawafa organizations are an important a partner for the success of the Hajj traffic plan, in quotes. In a meeting with the Tawafa organization for pilgrims from Arab countries in Mecca, this brother Al-Mukbil, he explained the plan for the movement of pilgrims, particularly on the day of Arafat, and the movement of pilgrims from Arafat to Muzdalifah. The head of the traffic command also said that there will be a large deployment of traffic officers on the roads to ensure the smooth flow of pilgrims from Arafat to Muzdalifah without any traffic jams. The plan also involves urging Hajjis to remain in Mina until the 13th of Dhul Hijjah to avoid overcrowding the circumambulation of the Kaaba. The plan also includes opening the ring roads on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, allowing for the free movement of service vehicles. Also, buses will not be allowed to enter Arafat unless they have passengers aboard. These plans are especially important where Mount Arafat is concerned. This is the area where we see the incidents of trampling and these deaths, because these millions of Hajjis are moving at the same time. People are very excited. This year it's hot. We're in the middle of the not the middle, but we're still experiencing summer weather conditions. And so we hope, inshallah, that we can minimize the injuries and even fatalities this year. We will go to our next story, which is in Oman. A Islamic bank there, Mithaq, has launched a Sharia-compliant prepaid card for pilgrims who are performing the Hajj as well as Umrah, which they call the Labaik card. The Labaik card can be credited with a maximum value of over $2,400. The bank, Mithaq, it said that it is offering the card to the pilgrims, quote, to ensure convenience and security either for withdrawing cash or paying for expenses during the Hajj or Umrah. The card is accepted worldwide at Visa merchant outlets as well as ATMs. They can also use the card for transactions online. Customers are not required to open a bank account with the bank in order to get the card, and they don't need to maintain a minimum balance to acquire the card, which can be used in unlimited number of times as long as there's credit available on the account. There's also no spending limit, again, as long as the funds are available. For our last story this evening, we will go to the announcement made by the Saudi Supreme Court regarding the day of Arafat. They have said, based on several people seeing or sighting the new moon for the Dhul Hijjah, that it would occur or start on August the 3rd. The Dhul Hijjah, this is the day where the pilgrims, they stand in prayer on the plains of Arafat near Mecca. More than 2 million pilgrims are expected to perform the Hajj this year. They will assemble in Minna, which is located 12 kilometers outside Mecca, on Thursday the 2nd, at the start of the pilgrimage, in preparation for the journey to Arafat the next day. Then the feast or the sacrifice will be celebrated on October the 4th. The Supreme Court said in a statement, adding that on September 25th would be the first day of Dhul Hijjah. During the meeting of top ministry officials in Jeddah on Wednesday, they launched the ministry's website to provide health guidelines for the pilgrims. They also deployed over 20,000 doctors, nurses, and paramedic staff to deal with, again, some of these situations that we may see, some of the weak, maybe sick people or elderly people being negatively affected by the weather or the conditions, or possibly being injured. So these are some of the preparations. We want to give you also the website that they put up. This is the official website for the ministry. It's www.moh.gov.sa/Hajj, H-A-J-J. Again, www.moh.gov.sa/Hajj, H-A-J-J. This will conclude the items for our first day, covering entirely Hajj items. We hope you enjoy today the information here, and as well as the discussions that will follow for our social segment. We're going to be talking about mentally, physically, and spiritually preparing for Hajj for our social segment. Following a short break, we're going to look at the expected weather for tomorrow, and then come back for this discussion and continue tomorrow, inshallah, with more news and information about Hajj. Thank you again for tuning in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك لا شريك لك إن الحمد والنعمة لك.
And the talbiyah, as we all know, is when a Muslim would say لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك. Should not say that. Every Muslim should perform Hajj. And when we are performing the Hajj, we need to reach this perfection by seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, by seeking help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and making sure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best and we do not know what is good for us. The Kaaba is not the bricks that is being built. The Kaaba is what is behind, or what's behind the meanings of Al-Kaaba, the first house of worship. If a person would know the wisdom behind every move that a person do in matters of worship, then where's the submission comes into the full meanings of it. To remember what Hajar, the wife of Ibrahim alayhi salam, when she went from the Safa to the Marwa, so concerned and disturbed about the affairs of her child Ismail, when he was laying some place between the Safa and the Marwa, crying because of the shortage of food and water.
لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك لا شريك لك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك.
Your questions and comments mean a lot to Huda TV crew, so please don't hesitate to contact us on social media. On Facebook, www.facebook.com/huda.tv. On YouTube, www.youtube.com/hudatv. On Twitter, @Huda TV channel. And on our official website, www.huda.tv. You can watch Huda TV on the Nilesat on the following parameters. Frequency 11747. Huda TV is also now available for broadcast on the Galaxy 19 satellite in the United States of America on the following parameters. Satellite Galaxy 19, frequency 12184.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, dear brothers and sisters. Indeed, it is a wonderful occasion and it's a wonderful time to talk about the Hajj. Now, the Hajj being right on our doorsteps and very close to us, I would like to wish you all a happy Hajj and a happy Arafat in advance. Alhamdulillah. Now, dear brothers and sisters, as we know today, we're going to talk about the Hajj and the different things that is done in it. Now, as we all know, that the Hajj is the fourth main pillar of worship, just like the Salat, the Zakat being the obligatory charity, the Siyam, the fasting of Ramadan. The Hajj is considered one of the most important pillars, or among the important pillars of Islam. And it is required of every Muslim to do this or to perform this at least once in his lifetime. At least once. Dear brothers and sisters, it is truly worth understanding every single step, as the Prophet ﷺ did this journey on his own. The journey in itself has a lot to teach us and a lot to tell us today. Now, because this is a very, very important part for us to go on today in it, it is important that we understand different points. Now, today we'll be going into different parts of details on what to do, things to do, the do's and the don'ts in general. Among the things that we're also going to be talking today about is also the physical aspect of performing Hajj. Today we're going to talk with us about how to prepare yourself in terms of health. And we're going to be talking with Dr. Mukhtar, who is going to be with us shortly, and we're going to be talking with him regarding what to do and how to prepare ourselves and what to expect in terms of regarding health and also fitness, and what to do, like things like what to drink and things like that. Now, just before that, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Brother Mukhtar, thank you for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Mr. Hussain.
Doctor, could you speak to us more about the health guidelines, or could you give us guidelines in regards, for the Hajj? What advice can you help us with?
There are many guidelines for people going, and we should say that the better prepared you are, the better you can dedicate yourself to the worship and to this joyful journey. There are many guidelines, but I will try to make it short and concise. Please, if you are not physically fit, start getting exercise. People who are living an active life don't have to worry, but people who are living a sedentary life need to exercise. In Hajj, you will do a lot of walking, a lot of hill climbing, so you have to start now not to have aches and pains during Al-Hajj. Especially if you are going to circuit between Safa and Marwa, Sa'i for 7 times. This is about 3.5 kilometers. If you are not exercising, it will be very difficult for you. So my advice is to start down, walk at least 5 to 10 kilometers, and have a good footwear that's made for a long walk. The heel should be 1 and 2 centimeters higher than the front. That shoe should be broad, and don't get a new shoe. Use the one you are using before, and please do some exercises before you go. Once you are there, let's start by the general hygiene rules. Maintaining personal hygiene, like bathing regularly, washing your hands well by using water and soap or any disinfectant if there is no water available. Please Please use the face mask, especially in crowded places, and changing every now and then.
Yes.
The rule is to change the face mask every 6 hours, especially in congested places, during circumambulation of the Kaaba, the Tawaf, stoning, the Rajim, and walking between Safa and Marwa. This should be regularly with you, and please keep close attention to the oral and dental cleanliness, estimate and the time that you will use for personal hygiene, and it's time for ibadah, because keeping yourself clean is something joyful, to be clean with your brothers. Let's move to shaving and hair cutting tips. It's very important to protect yourself by choosing a suitable barber. Never go to a street barber.
Yes.
Never do it. And please, once you shavers are recommended, use it. Keep away from all other kind of shavers, and never share others' personal tools such as toothbrush, removing hairs, sponge, anything. And ask the barber to wash his hand well by using water and soap before shaving or hair cutting. Another thing many people complain of is food poisoning during Hajj.
Yes.
And there are recommendations that you could use, starting by washing fruits and vegetables well before eating. Verify the expiry date before buying the canned food and drinks. Keep away from the uncovered food and shared food with a lot of people. Wash your hand well before and after preparing food, and also before and after eating. Cooked food should be eaten immediately after cooking. Never store it in the bus or in the room temperature. And if you are going to store it in the fridge. Remember, storing cooked food more than 2 hours in a room or past temperature may lead to the growing of the bacteria that cause the food poisoning. Another thing is heat stroke. Sunstroke is very, very dangerous, especially in Saudi Arabia with hot temperature. So please drink enough liquids. Avoid exposure to the sun for a long time. I know you have to, so use umbrella, use colored umbrellas, and use sunglasses, sunblock. Avoid making excessive effort, and keep with you water. Use water up to 12 and 14 cups. Please use sun umbrella with you. And most of important tips I want to finish with is chronic diseases.
Yes.
Many people of us, especially old people who are going for Hajj, will be doing a lot of effort, and they have chronic illnesses. If you don't get it under control, the journey will not be peaceful for you. So first, consult your doctor before setting out for Hajj to assess your health situation. Take with you sufficient medication and keep them properly stored. You will not find the kind of medication you are using in your country available in Saudi Arabia, so have it with you with enough amount of the drug with you, and take medications on time. Never skip it. And adhere to doctor's instructions, such as following a certain diet, especially if you are going for a long walk. And please have your doctor write for you a paper with your medical description of your case, and also put a wrist strap. This is a good idea. Have a wrist strap or an information card with you.
Yes.
Mr. Hisham, you tell people to have it with them, having your name, your age, the disease, the kind of a treatment, the address, the contact information, and tell the people, tell the persons that around you, that are accompanying you, about the medications and the case that you need. And please, please, you are doing a ritual that you are taking hasanat for it. So use what the Prophet told us. Avoid making too much effort, and use the Hajj legal concessions, like assigning someone to do the stoning ritual on your behalf. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. When you have a concession, use it, especially if your health situation does not help you. If you are performing the Hajj rituals, you may have a chronic disease or a acute disease, something that you contract newly. So the most common of the digestive diseases are diarrhea, constipation, and bowel problems. Diarrhea, keep away from fatty food. Verify the cleanliness of the food. Drink much liquid to avoid dehydration. And please, if you have diarrhea, go for the next health center, and don't take it for not serious condition. Constipation. The recommendation is to eat much fruits and vegetables. drink much liquid. If you have nausea and vomiting, now we are suspecting food poisoning, so go for the nearest physician and ask him about your condition. The respiratory diseases are many, but if you are putting the face mask, avoiding crowded places without the face mask, this will put you in a good condition. Please wash your hands, and if you sneeze, don't touch your eyes because this could transmit it to your eyes. Another thing, I tell people to take enough sleep. You are doing a lot of effort during the day, so don't wake up until midnight. After Al-Isha, after you pray the Qiyam, sleep and have enough time of sleep to have your body rest and get ready for the other day. If you have chronic disease like diabetes, you should get it under control. Ask your doctor to follow it with you before you travel and make sure it's under control. Your doctor may ask you to do the hemoglobin A1C test. Use the insulin bin, because if you are using the regular insulin, you have to store it in the fridge. That might not be available, but if you store it in the insulin bin, that could be good with you. Have the diabetic food diet with you. You need more of the fruits, you need more of the vegetables, you need more water, you need less sugar. People with hypertension, another disease, but if you don't get these conditions under control, you will compromise Hajj, not only for you, but also for people around you. So, Mr. Hisham, I always tell people to have health conditions under control. Either it's respiratory conditions, acute or chronically, either it is digestive conditions with your abdomen and your diarrhea, constipation, nausea and vomiting, either it is in your eye or dermatological disease. Many dermatological disease like allergy could be striking you because you are in another place trying another thing. So if you had something like this, among most of the common dermatological diseases also is exfoliation between thighs. People are walking for a long time, and between the thighs, they feel there's some aching there. So please, if you have any of these, maintain the personal hygiene, a regular bathing, use the powder and other moisturizing creams, and walk with some comfortable clothes, and keep in between thigh area clean and dry. Many recommendations we tell people to do, but the most important that if you hear these recommendations, please stand up in the bus or in the plane you are in and tell people around you, share this information. We want all people to be healthy.
Yes, thank you very, very much, brother. Thank you very much, doctor. Truly, that was very, very interesting and very, very guiding at the same time. Now, you've heard it all, dear brothers and sisters. The main guidelines regarding the Hajj, in regarding so many things, this is very, very important, and inshallah. Dear brothers and sisters, we'll be right back after this break to continue the rest of the show. Be with us.
To be the best and give his best religion to them. Allah, our God, is the greatest. The one and only glory to him. He born in you.
Al-Imam al-Nawawi, may Allah have mercy on him, have indeed did a great and a tremendous job in compiling some of the most beautiful ahadith and relevant ayat in one of his marvelous works, which is known as Riyadh al-Salihin, or Gardens of the Pious. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all amongst the dwellers of Gardens of the Pious. Jannat al-Na'im. Allahumma ameen.
And give his best religion to them. Rasulullah, Habib Allah. Allah, our God, is the greatest. The one and only only glory to him.
Let's start from where they started. Who are they? The companions of the Prophet ﷺ. When they started learning the religion of Islam, they started with the Aqidah, the belief system, faith. Brothers and sisters in Islam, dear viewers, the Prophet ﷺ spent 13 years in Mecca teaching that generation the belief system, the Aqidah. Aisha radiallahu anha confirms this by saying, the first things which were revealed from the Quran was matters of Aqidah. Who is Allah? Jannah, paradise and hell. Jundub ibn Abdullah al-Bajali, may Allah be pleased with him, said, we learned the belief system, we learned the Iman, we learned the Aqidah, then we learn the Quran. Brothers and sisters in Islam, nowadays, a lot of our cultural practices, a lot of our societal norms are against our belief system. And the reason why we're falling into this, because we did not start from where they started.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back, dear brothers and sisters, and I'm truly very excited, alhamdulillah, in regards of all of this. And I personally, I can't wait to have lots of knowledge and learn tips, especially tips in regards to the Hajj. Today with us, we have very, very important guests with us, and they will be with us today discussing more and giving us more information and more knowledge in regards to this. Today with us, we have Brother Omar. Nice to have you with us, Brother Omar. Thank you for being with us. Jazakallah kull khair. And also we have Brother
Ma'am Khalifa.
Nice to have you with us, brother.
I'm a writer at on Islam.net.
Nice to have you. Thank you. Jazakallah kull khair. Yes, it isn't the first time that we've been together on the same show.
Yeah, we've been on many shows before.
Yes, definitely. Jazakallah kull khair. Now, as you already know, today we're talking about the Hajj, and as very soon, in a week time, you know, the stand of Arafat is going to be
next.
First
day will be the 8th of the Hijjah.
Yes.
And then for 6 days, this is the performing the Hajj and.
So now, let me say that many people are trying to prepare themselves in terms of spiritually, mentally, and physically. But before I go into any of this, you were telling us that you have a couple of...
No, just comment on what the brother have said. Just to add, you know, many people think that you must go through hardships in Hajj. It's true, it's already a hard, you know, there's hardships definitely in Hajj. But we shouldn't impose hardships on ourselves. So we should be careful. Like this reminds me of you know, when I performed Hajj once, there was a brother with us who said, "Well, this is too easy because we're going with the bus. No, I'm gonna leave the bus and take off and walk, and it's quite a walk. You know, we're talking you know, kilometers." And I said, "Well, there's no need for that. It doesn't." He said, "No, there's more rewarding." I said, "It won't be more rewarding because you're, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the means to go through, you know, the transport." So what I want to get to is that people shouldn't put more hardships on themselves if there's no need to. If the hardship came, you know, it's not within their...
presents itself.
Right, you know, so hardships will come, and definitely they will come. And you see, if you put more hardship on yourself, you get more tired, you might miss even some acts of worship, you will feel exhausted. So take it easy if you can. If you happen to be in a group where you don't have the means and you don't have a choice, fine. Otherwise, don't venture and leave the group and go walk on your own. And think that you're gonna get more rewards.
True. I guess many of our brothers and sisters, I think it's not just only the reward. It's many of them also look at it as the act of walking on the same path as they did. Because but of course, again, I would say if brothers and sisters are able to do so at the same time. But yes, I guess I understand what you're talking about. You don't have to impose it on yourself.
Exactly.
Don't make it a burden.
Don't go out of your way to
exactly.
impose
Don't go
hardship.
out of your way. That's exactly.
And
okay.
Stick with your group. You know, there's many people we don't wander, and then they
True.
lose. They lose each other.
True. That is very correct.
Yeah.
All right. Now, when we say Hajj, it's very normal that a lot of people, the sunnahs. But I know people would like to know the sunnahs. What are the sunnahs that can be done? The day before or the day that they leave. In other words, or let me put it this way, because I'm a little bit excited also, to be honest, because when we say Hajj, there are just so many things that comes in our minds. The journey to be walked, the preparation, the sunnahs that we sometimes have to follow, or we can follow. If you could talk a little bit
I think
about
that's
that.
not, but before Hajj in general, you have to clear your conscience kind of thing. You have to, if you have debts, if you have... you happen to have issues with people, clear those out before you go for Hajj. Make it a habit that you don't leave before Hajj, asking everybody's forgiveness. Again, you're going also to ask for Allah's forgiveness.
True.
But first, start with people that you live with, your family, your friends, and make sure you don't have anything pending.
Yes, true.
This is one thing. As far as Sunan, really, the day of, I'm not aware there's anything specific. There's nothing really specific, before.
Okay.
Before the day of Hajj,
Yes.
or before the day. You're talking about before you leave.
Yes, before you leave.
Before you leave.
True.
But then, if we can talk in general about a general kind of intention.
Yes.
About Hajj. And
but
maybe Omar can
yes, that's
elaborate
just
on that.
I was about to move on to Omar, but before I move on to Brother Omar, let me get back to you, because I wanted to talk to you, or if you could talk to us more about the ihram. The clothing.
Okay. When you put on the ihram, one thing that we have to put in mind that it's kind of putting our physical needs when we put on the ihram, because of its simplicity. Now we're going back to basic.
True.
We're putting all our worldly things behind, our work. Even some people go without their families, so we're putting lots of things behind, and we're kind of saying this is a time to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a time where I'm free to, I don't have anybody bothering me, calling me on the phone, no more mobile phones, no more distractions from our day-to-day life.
True.
So this is one important thing is putting on the ihram, is that I'm relieving myself from anything that's going to distract me from the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes.
And I'm going to be equal with all my brothers in Islam coming from all over the world, all of us wearing the same type of clothes.
Yes. All equal.
All equal.
Yes,
and I really want to warn people here that not to, even if you have the means, don't buy the most expensive ihram. You know. Get something that's good, but looks modest, because you want to look, alike with your brothers.
Of course.
And some people, when they buy the fancy, you can tell, this is better than then
it shows, I would guess.
Yeah, it shows up here, you know. So we want to avoid this.
Trying to buy something we would call the best, then,
right?
You know, everybody and their different intentions of why they would do so.
Exactly.
So, in regards of speaking to intentions, I would like to ask or talk to you. You know, alhamdulillah, as our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam put it, you know, indeed actions are judged or weighed by the intentions behind them. So let me ask you, how important is it that a Muslim, you know, starts recalling and thinking about his niyyah, you know, before, you know, to be able to reach, you know, his intended goals, and you know, if we can call it goals, that is. And what sort of relation is it to this when we talk about the niyyah?
Yeah, first of all, before we start talking about the niyyah, we are actually living in a world, speaking with the mouths of the youth and teenagers, we are living in a world that's terribly fast. If you're not updated with the latest technology, with the latest inventions, with the latest news, you lose a lot. You're much back, you're much lost in this world. So this fast world creates a dilemma, creates a problem. The problem is that we forget the reason we live for. We forget this question that why are we created in this world? Why are we here, and why are we in this country, in these situations? We are here for one reason. Eventually, if we answer this question, we are here to worship Allah. So if we place this niyyah before any deeds, before any actions, whether you are in college or you are a graduate or you are working or you are going to Mecca or any other deeds, if you place this niyyah, you're having the sawab, it's eventually in your good deeds. Whatsoever the work you are doing is a practical work, or is it an Islamic or religious work. So if you place the right niyyah before each deed, it's going to help a lot. It's going to end the dilemma. It's going to make you, it's going to give you the power. Because eventually you are going to somehow go down. Eventually you are going to somehow lose a lot in this world, because world is up and down. So if you have the right intention, if you have the right niyyah from the beginning, that each and every thing you do is for Allah's sake, you're not going to lose anything. You're going to have the passion always that whatsoever job I'm going to do, it's there. It's there written in Allah's, in my book at the end. One day I'll stand in front of Allah and telling Him that I did so and so for your sake.
True.
It's a problem concerning all of us, and I'm one of them, of course, that we forget to place the niyyah before doing any regular day-to-day events.
Of course.
So that's why I wanted to remind myself and remind everybody, of course, that placing the right niyyah before doing anything is going to help you a lot, and it's going to, of course, something like Umrah or Hajj, it's very hard, as Mr. Rahman said. So if you didn't place the right niyyah, that you're going for only Allah's sake, and you forget anything related to your world,
anything else.
Yes, it's going to give you the passion, it's going to give you the power to withstand all this hardship that you're going to face.
Of course, of course.
And as we know, accountability in Islam is by intention.
Of course.
Sometimes even if you intend something but you don't act upon it, you still get the reward for it because you intended something good.
That's true.
So the intention is very important. And in fact, most books of hadith start with the hadith of intention. You know, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Indeed, any act is by intention.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's very you know.
I would like to get back also in regards to what is after the niyyah. But just before we go into the question of that, we have a report with us, dear brothers and sisters, that we'll be looking at, and we'll be right back after this.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome, my name is Muhammad, and inshallah today I'm going to go through with you on how to perform the preparation for ihram. Now the first thing when preparing for ihram is to make sure you have the intention, and that is the intention to perform Hajj for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now from the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is before performing ihram is to cut your fingernails, trim your mustache, and trim the pubic hairs. And inshallah this will be in accordance with the sunnah. And also it's important to make ghusl, and once you've completed that, then inshallah you can apply misk onto your body. Now, and apply it onto your beard, and you can wipe it over your body. Now, when you wear the ihram clothes, you don't want to put any misk on that, as it's not allowed. So it's better to put it onto your body, inshallah. The first step is to get the undergarment or the izar, and you want to wrap it around your body. Now, when you're doing this, you want to make sure that it covers your knees, so it's covering your awrah. So just wrap it around. So above your waist to begin with, and make sure that if you are quite tall, that it's falling below your knees. After this, you can grab the money belt. Now this is very good during Hajj, because it secures all your valuables, like your passport, keys for the hotel, phone, and any other things that you might want to secure, inshallah. So it just clips on, and then you tighten it, and then you can place your things inside. If you buy the one with the zipper, this is also good if you have any money, and then you can zip it up. They have multiple pockets, so if you're carrying a lot of valuables, this shouldn't be a problem, inshallah, because there are 3 pockets on this one. After you have done this, it's recommended to fold the izar over the money wallet, because it keeps it safe and no one else can see it. Also, the money belt, it helps keep the izar in place so it doesn't fall over when you're making a tawaf and during salah. Second step is to place the overgarment over your body. And during the first 3 rounds of tawaf, you want to have your shoulder uncovered, so you bring it down like so, and you cover it around. And this way, your arm is showing. So this will be during the first 3 tawafs, so you have your right arm uncovered. Once you've finished, you take it off, and you just wrap it around your body again. And inshallah, during salah as well, make sure that you have your shoulder covered and it's not uncovered. Now, obviously, during this demonstration, I have clothes underneath, but inshallah, when you prepare for ihram, you're not going to have these on, because having stitched clothing is forbidden during ihram. So no undergarments, no underpants, and anything stitched, even socks. You don't want to have socks on. So. Now there are 2 types of sandals. There are sandals with stitching, which are not allowed during ihram. So anything with stitching on it, you want to avoid this. The other types of sandals are with no stitching, and inshallah these are the ones that are correct for ihram. So like this, inshallah, you are ready for ihram. It's okay if you have a watch or ring or anything else. Watch and ring is all you want to keep on. Eyeglasses are also okay, but you want to avoid anything on your head, so no head coverings, inshallah. Once you've done this, you make the intention to perform, the verbal intention to perform Hajj, which is Labbaik Allahumma Hajjan. We wish everybody, inshallah, that is at Hajj, for them to have a blessed Hajj, and may Allah accept their good deeds and ours. Jazakallah khair for watching, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome back, dear brothers and sisters. Though that was quite an interesting report, giving us a practical knowledge on how the ihram is properly worn, and the do's and the don'ts. As a matter of fact, we were just commenting about it. Firstly, do we have any comments about this?
Yeah, I have just a few tips, kind of.
Yes, please.
When you put the izar, the lower garment, when you put it on, make sure that you have enough space for your legs to move, because Many people are not used to this. It's the first time they're wearing it. So what I suggest is you try to open your legs
as you
tie it around. Otherwise,
it
it'll be difficult for you to move freely, and especially when you're walking fast.
True.
The other issue I would like to comment about. Always have an extra. Like when you go for. Most people do the Hajj al-Tamattu, which means they perform Umrah. Then there's some time before that. Then they do the Hajj. Obviously, there's a gap in time, and then when you first, especially coming from abroad, you're gonna have probably sit in your ihram for a very long time. So it's a good idea to have an extra one or to buy one there when you reach there, because it's obviously the first one will be ruined by the time you finish your Umrah. One thing you mentioned about stitching, why not stitching? You see, if we have anything that could be stitched, that means we can wear shirts.
True.
And the idea here is to have it simple. Otherwise, people will wear different things.
True.
Again, we're going back to each one have their own culture, and they could be. That's why there's nothing it has to be stitched. Therefore, you don't wear even shoes that's stitched.
Yes.
One more thing is just a hint from maybe medical point of view.
Yeah.
Probably the brother. I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but wearing the ihram is not very for many people. It's not pleasant. So you could get lots of irritation in the skin.
Yeah.
So I suggest you buy something cream to get this irritation. Especially after. After you perform your Umrah, put it on, get rid of this ill feeling, because this will help you for later on to continue your.
Of course.
It keeps you going.
True, that is.
So these are my hints. I don't have anything else.
Do you have any?
I just have one hint, because I tried it myself. That try to practice wearing the ihram at home before even going. When you buy it at home, because if you're not practiced to wearing it fast. Maybe in the miqat you don't have the time to try wearing it 1 or 2 times. So do practice wearing it at home more than one time, so that you just do it fast.
Oh yes, that is actually very good advice. Yeah. All right, now continuing on picking up on where we left off right before the report, we were talking about the niyyah, the intentions, and we now know that the niyyah or the intention is a first step, or the first spiritual step for the Hajj. Now, are there any other spiritual steps, or
you have to? Obviously there is, because what you want to put in mind is that you're going so your sins are forgiven.
Yes.
You're going not only going to perform the Hajj just because it's a nice journey and I have to do it.
Yes.
I want also the benefit of the Hajj I want to gain that benefit, which is so my sins all will be forgiven and wiped out, like the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith, that the person who doesn't do anything, doesn't dispute and doesn't do anything that's unpleasant to others, and does things properly in the Hajj, he returns as if he was just born baby. So born baby meaning he has no sins. He didn't commit any sins, and that's the main purpose. If we miss that, we miss the whole Hajj.
Yes, that is very true. That is very true.
So spiritually, we have to prepare for that.
Yes.
It's something we have to keep in mind, and that has to do with the dealing, how you deal with others. Just some examples. For example, I was mentioning that many people take too many things with them to Hajj. So they'll be with you in the group, and they'll probably be needing help because they have extra luggage.
Of course.
So instead of telling them, well, why did you do that? Why did you bring all these things? Don't mention anything negative. Say, how can I help you? Let me carry one thing with you. And for you, as a person who's aware and person who's done your work ahead of time, take minimal things with you. True. If you have to bring luggage, because you're going somewhere else after the Hajj, put it aside and take a small luggage for the Hajj trip, and don't take too many things, that you have to carry around, because this will exhaust you.
Yes.
But if someone else has done it, help them out.
Of course.
Get the reward for that. always be pleasant with others, smile, try to get the negative aspects into positive aspects. Because obviously there's so many things that could turn negative in Hajj, you know, so many people getting together. You could be clashing with people, you could be, people could push you, these are things that will happen.
Yes.
It's not a maybe, that will happen, that there'll be clashes, unintentional.
Of course.
But, you know, it's irritating.
Yes.
And then
yes.
we have to get this irritating out of the way and then keep on going.
It's true, true. Okay, now, allow me to ask you this question, though. In your, I mean, what is the wisdom behind having a good relation with people, you know, family, friends, neighbors, and you know, straightening out disputes before leaving? I mean, what is the wisdom?
Actually, this is a very important point here, because it's not just before leaving to Hajj. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you do have this good lifestyle, if you do have this good maybe connection with people, they're always gonna pray for you. They're always gonna be on your side when you are in trouble.
Yes.
That's one point. When we are here in this life, we do have a lot of injustice.
Yeah.
You're gonna fall one day with a problem with somebody, and running after your rights takes a part of your mind. So if I forget about the main maybe reason I was created for, or if I forget about the main project I'm working on, and I started thinking about maybe revenge or taking back my right, it's going to waste a lot of time.
Yeah.
We all know that God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the all justice. So He is going to give you back your right into your place without even thinking about it. You just put it aside, especially when you're going for Hajj, for example. There you're going to meet a lot of hardship. It's not easy. But the wisdom or how perfect Hajj is that it gathers a lot of people with a lot of different backgrounds into one place. So you are there with a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different languages. You may not understand the people within you, but you're gonna deal with them, and you're gonna maybe you're just living in one place. So you have to have this good connection with people. You have to help them, because they're gonna help you back. When you smile to their face, they're gonna smile back into you. So just try to be away from any problems. Forget all the problems that you have back in your hometown. You're having a break. You're going to a place to spiritually relax, to have a new start. So don't waste all this new start. Don't waste this new page into your life with small problems that you just forget the moment you step on it.
True, true.
Take the opportunity to you know, meet people and make friends, and you know, you'll meet people from all over the world. So try to, you know, get this brotherhood, which is actually another benefit of Hajj.
Yes, of
is
course.
the brotherhood, and you know, everybody is coming from all over the world to the same, for the same purpose, is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. You know, this is a common, people with common interest, if you want to say.
Of course.
So this is the pilgrimage. We're going for one purpose. Is to turn to our
yes, that is very true. That is very true.
The only Creator.
A question also that you know, I think it would be kind of interesting. You know, when we frequently asked questions, for example, the ihram, yes, the ihram. So I'm trying to pronounce that correctly. People sometimes ask if they can wear this in the airport before leaving.
Oh yes. Well, the rule is that you must wear it before you get to the miqat. And if you're coming from abroad, you're in a plane. Usually they announce, you know, that especially if it's a Hajj, you know, a plane, like it's a purpose for Hajj. If you're not on a plane where they're going to announce, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But usually what's going to happen, if the plane is filled with pilgrims, it will be better if they have, especially let's say coming from far away, let's say the US, it will be better that they stop somewhere and then continue. Let's say they stop in Emirates. And especially Emirates has a very good airport, probably one of the best airports in the world, that you have the facility where you can take a shower and wear your ihram, and then it's a shorter trip to Mecca.
Yes.
But if, let's say, you're coming straight from New York
And as a
to
matter of
Jeddah,
fact, some people wear it at home and go to the airport.
well, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I think there is more hardship. First, you have to, once you put your ihram on, you should start the talbiyah and making dhikr and making mentioning Allah's name.
Yes.
So this might be a hindrance if you do that for 12 hours or 14 hours.
Of course.
Before even reaching there, and then when you reach there, you might take another 10 to 12 hours to reach Mecca because of the crowd.
So you might find yourself actually, under
so you
pressure.
you're kind of exhausting yourself.
Yes, that is very true.
Now, some people, manage, especially if they follow his advice, they can wear it quickly. They manage to do it on the plane.
Yes.
And as I said, they mention, they will mention, let's say they will say, in 1 hour we'll be passing the miqat.
Yes.
So, take advantage of that hour and maybe organize yourself, especially if it's a big group, and wear the ihram, maybe on the plane. Now, some people might miss that, might not be able to do it.
Yes.
So what will happen in general, if they can leave from Jeddah to the closest miqat,
it would be.
and then, wear their ihram there, because at the miqat's place, there's a shower place,
and
you
can move anything, yes.
If you don't have that, let's say they took you straight to Mecca.
Yes.
Well, then from Mecca you go to the closest miqat.
Yes,
it's not too far. I mean, the trip is not that far. Take a car, people that are together, let's say maybe 10 people missed it, they're together, they can take a small bus or whatever and then go and come back quickly.
I see. That is very good.
These are tips, but it will be wonderful if they can put it on before they reach the miqat.
Of course, if there is the facility, or they can learn to find that part where they can do this.
Yeah.
Maybe you cannot just generalize the idea, because generalizing the idea for a lot of people is hard. So it's about
depending on each person.
Depending on the situation, depending on the
situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let me just quickly ask: is there anything that you would like to add? I mean, something that you would like to tell our brothers and sisters before? Just an advice, a tip, something that you would like to tell them about the Hajj, do's or don'ts, anything that can come to your mind, if you have any.
Well, lots of, hints and tips that we can mention. I'm just trying to remember one of the things that, I did the Hajj twice myself.
Yes.
But,
well, unfortunately, I'm sorry, we will not be able to take that tip because of time has just been out, though. Well, alhamdulillah, I think our dear brothers and sisters have already, have gotten a lot from out of this. Thank you for so much for being with us. Jazakallah kull khair. Thank you very, very much. It was wonderful having you on the show.
Thank you.
Now, dear brothers and sisters, we have covered important points regarding the Hajj, and inshallah, we will be continuing to increase knowledge in general, inshallah. Thank you very much, dear brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.